All right. Welcome everyone to episode 20 of the Green Room podcast. And today I'm joined by RíRá, who arguably is the pioneer of Irish hip hop. Whether he likes to agree with that statement or not, I'm not sure. But he's probably the most honorable guest I've had on the show and may ever have on the show. So I'd like to welcome him here and maybe give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself, as there may be people tuning in that haven't heard of you before. So fire away and give us a few sentences, I guess, about yourself.
How we doing, man? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm RíRá. I think anyone tuned into this might know who I am, but if they don't, I'm a very old MC.
Possibly the oldest.
Possibly the oldest, still doing it, without doubt. Yeah.
More often than not, the question I might ask people if they're maybe a little bit older than myself is, what was it like to be rapping in 2008 or 2003? But in your case, it's a good bit before that. So, like, I'd love to get a kind of an insight as to what it was kind of like back then, when there probably was very few other acts besides yourself and Scary Era at the time. What were the major differences, really, aside from the fact that it was, two different decades, I guess, as opposed to now?
Well, like you said, the circle was very small. When I started, there was maybe, I'd say 5 MCs that I knew. I'd say if you scout the country, you might find 10. I mean, it was that small.
Yeah.
It was just, you had loads of break dancers, you had a good few graffiti artists, small few DJs, but even less MCs. Nobody was on the mic then,
Yeah.
I'm talking like 86 when I started. Been into it since 84, a couple of years later, started MCing. So that was like the very, very first time hip hop hit Ireland, and that came in from 84, 2 major films, Breaking and Beat Street. I don't know, have you seen them?
I've seen Beat Street, yeah.
Yeah, they're classics, man. They were legendary. They broke hip hop internationally. Everybody wanted to fucking breakdance. That's how I started.
That was like your era's 8 Mile in a sense. Like, I'd say 8 Mile is probably what inspired a lot of the people from my generation into getting into hip hop. So you could say those two films might have been the kind of same thing, just in a different era.
For different generations, yeah. 8 Mile came along a long time after that.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. That broke a lot of people into wanting to be MCs.
Mm.
But back then, man, it was all about breakdancing. That was the main thing, We just saw somebody spinning on their heads. Like, look at this fucker spinning on his head. I want to do that. It's humanly possible. Let's fucking try that.
And it's not really a thing anymore either. Like, I don't think I know any. I know one break dancer, I think, that at least openly does it. It's really a very large part of the origins of hip hop that's quite ignored or kind of cast aside nowadays, sadly.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that because, you still have the crew still doing it. You still have the Belfast that you're still doing it, and all the youth coming up doing it.
Yeah.
They're training for the fucking Olympics now. It's an Olympic sport now. So, I think breakdancing has gotten bigger than any other element of hip hop.
Oh. Fair enough. I just revealed my own ignorance then, I guess. But you can kind of see, at least in the main. But you know what I mean? At least at the main.
Don't see them at the discos anymore.
Yeah. Like, you wouldn't actively see it kind of at least a lot of the time in the Irish hip hop scene, at least for gigs and stuff. Like, it's probably something I should myself just start getting breakdancers on board with gigs and stuff like that, because not a lot of other people seem to be doing it. Because it's a part I like to see. I love seeing it. It's fucking class, like,
especially the stuff now, they're like fucking ninjas.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, man, that's still a part of it. I haven't seen too many about either, but I know they're still doing it, and it's a big thing in Limerick. It's a big thing in Belfast. I'm sure there's a crew in Dublin somewhere. They don't put on events anymore. They used to be breakdance events.
Yeah.
Competition. You don't see that now.
Might be an idea.
But,
to bring it
might
back.
be an idea, man. I'd still bust a fucking move at a wedding,
Yeah.
Give me a few brandies, man. I'm out there.
Yeah, sure. I might give fucking Orson Gael a shout here after this and say, here, look, I know I've put on a lot of hip hop gigs, but if you want to get some breakdancing down, it might attract a whole new crowd. That's kind of my main goal, is to do lots of different types of gigs, and then hopefully at the climax then do kind of major ones where everyone that's attending all these various gigs is coming together then and appreciating various different aspects, whether it's the rap, the DJing or the breakdancing, and even I know you could do graffiti galleries and stuff like that if possible. You know, it's definitely something I have in mind at some stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of hip hop, man. It should be like, there used to be events where they'd be like, they'd have a hip hop night and they'd have DJs and MCs, and then there'd be a breakdancers out on the floor. Might be graffiti artists in the background doing some canvas thing or something. You know, it was all the elements together.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, you got your rap gig, you know, or you got a DJ gig. It's kind of separated a bit.
Yeah.
Well, look, people are still into it. People are still doing it. I'm sure there's very young breakdancers out there just getting into it now, and that's good to see.
Yeah, we may yet see a new wave now that everyone wants to be a rapper, and kind of producers, the production side of things is kind of becoming a bit more attractive as well to a lot of the young people. Breakdancing and graffiti might be something for them to kind of jump into with a little less competition and a little less oversaturation, I guess, which is a big deal these days across the board. Like,
yeah,
not to discourage people, of course, but there's so much out there. You can easily just get lost in the ocean of artists when, you know, the artist in question could be savagely talented, but just sadly, because of the way things are, they may not get heard, you know.
Well, that's it, because there's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, how many fucking MCs are there now? Everybody's fucking rapping, you know? And like I said back when I started, it's like fucking 5 or 6. Everybody wanted to be a DJ. Everybody was breakdancing. Well, not everybody doing graffiti, but there was a good few graffiti artists, really good ones too. But there was nobody on the mic. And now it's like, everybody wants to be on the mic. Everybody thinks they can rap. If they can fucking rhyme "How Now Brown Cow," they're jumping on the fucking mic.
Out of say those 5 or 6 rappers that kind of were around when you started out, would any of them still have any kind of presence at all? Because I certainly can't think off the top of my head who any of them are. Would you be in contact with any of them? Or no? I
am, of course, yeah, but they gave it up a long time ago, man.
Fair enough.
They came with the first wave of it, you know, and they are true legends in my eyes, you know, still there. Even though they don't do it anymore, they were the foundation of it.
Will there any of their stuff be available online or even in physical format to listen to at some point? Do you know?
There may be. I mean, back then it was just little cassette demo tapes. So, you know, I'm sure they're about somewhere. I've got a few, but yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff out there, man. It's documented somewhere.
You recently released an album, the 13th Side. I got a copy of it signed by yourself at the gig we did. Do you want to give us a little bit of a insight into kind of how that came about and maybe how long you were working on it, and just for anyone that is not aware of it, I guess, as we've already said, most people tuning into this definitely know who you are, but I hope that as time goes on, more strangers will listen into the podcast and who haven't a fucking notion about anything that we're talking about.
So I released that, what was it, 5-6 months ago?
Yeah.
13. I was working on that for on and off for years, you know, maybe about 4 years. And when I'm doing the music, I'll get into it for months and months. And then I'll leave it for months and months. And I'll go back, and anything worth keeping is staying there. And anything that's slightly under a fucking this threshold level that I have, it just has to go. Even though other people tell me, you got to keep that track. It's like, nah, I'm not keeping that. So then you end up with what becomes the album eventually. So I ended up with like 14 tracks out of fucking 50 something. You know, that became 13th Tide. And I finished that because my daughter was so persistent. You got to do this. You got to do it. You know, she's at that age now where she's mad into the music.
Yeah.
You got to finish this. So through lockdown, doing nothing else, I got it finished.
That's sweet.
And released it. Yeah, I'm happy with that album. You know, I'm moved on to the next thing now, but I'm just happy that came out. I'm glad that those songs over the 4 years finally just, you know, put it out there. It's out of my hands then.
Oh, it's top quality project, man. Fucking and like for me, I find it's hard enough. It's few and far between when full projects come out that, at least nowadays, that from start to finish are top quality, from the production to the, obviously your own rap style is, for me, untouched. You know, you've got a very, very unique flow. Like, I mean, obvious tracks that obviously it's not on the project with 25 o'clock in the morning, like fucking hell, like, you know. And for me, the fact that it's kind of like a party tune, would you say? But the definition of party tunes the definition of party tunes are not lyrical, at least nowadays, you know, and the beat itself
Yeah,
as well is very unique and kind of stands out. And a lot of your beats, especially on the last project as well, they're just they're strange and they're very unique sounding. But they obviously they work like a fucking charm, you know. So I definitely commend you on that, like because you've been here
thank
so
you.
long, your stuff still stands out, and there's very few to this day that I would say that can hold a light to yourself. And I'm someone who listens to basically everything, and would have a decent awareness at least of all the different MCs and stuff like that. But and I think everyone agrees with that. Like your name's been brought up on the show multiple times by probably every single rapper that I've had on it, and they say the same shit. So uh, I imagine it's a nice
I
feat.
appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. After doing it this long and to be still listened to and still mentioned, it's it's humbling.
Sure, I have
And thank you all.
your track title 25 o'clock in the morning tattooed on my arm, like, so that says a lot. That's a big decision to make. Well,
On
not
your what?
I have the 25 o'clock in the morning tattoo on my arm.
Oh,
Um,
your arm.
yeah,
Fucking hell, man. I thought you said something else.
no, arse.
At least it's not my... I'm glad it's not my fucking face.
Nah, I
I want to
would.
be another fucking Joe Rogan, like tattooed everywhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate that. Well, thank you for that.
It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I was like, I wanted to get kind of an Irish hip hop themed tattoo because there's not a whole lot of those, and I have a few fucking Wu-Tang W's tattooed on me as well. And I just thought like 25 o'clock in the morning, at least the title track kind of for me kind of resonates with the idea that like going to the last, second, like constantly performing to your best ability, keeping that fire going, whether you're partying or you're just living life and stuff. And for me, that was the kind of inspiration behind it. I was like, yeah, that's a cool idea, and I'm sure it would resonate at least with a lot of Irish hip hop heads. And it had like, and obviously you found it. It did the rounds on social media, and that's how you came across it initially. Because I'm not sure I don't think we followed each other on social media at the time. So just obviously whoever was sharing it around,
Yeah,
sending it around, it was,
somebody sent me a photo of it,
yeah.
and I just posted it up, going, "Who the fuck has this?" And you commented, "That's on me." But fair play to you, man.
That's actually when John from Jolie's Bar contacted me about doing the gig with you. I said to him, "RíRá should know who I am. Just mention I'm the fella with the 25 o'clock in the morning tattoo, just in case." And it might give him a bit more of a.
He's that fucking stalker with the tattoo.
Yeah. I was like, no man, don't bring him here. Like,
Yeah, fucking restraining order. No, I appreciate it, man.
no, it's all good. So again, there's kind of a pocket of time there that a lot of Irish hip hop artists, as we've said, weren't around or weren't kind of in tune, and there was a very small pocket of people that were active. What would be some of the kind of things that you kind of got involved with, say, in the 80s and the 90s that may have been some of your kind of most proud moments?
Well, to try and fucking think back that far. I mean, it wasn't about being heard or anything then. It was about just making demos for ourselves and our friends,
Yeah.
So there was no big plan to, we're going to start gigging and we're going to fucking get crowds. And it was nothing like that. It was just going to events and passing around tapes, going, "Well, check this out. This is me rapping, this is us. It's Irish. What do you think of it?" And that's all it was.
Yeah.
So cassettes got copied and copied and copied and spread around so far, They started reaching people that were interested in putting it out properly.
Mm.
So, I mean, proud moments, I don't know, just putting the fucking demos out. That was proud enough just to get that out.
Yeah.
And when I listened to it was, that's a bonus. You're going to listen to it and you're going to like it, then that's even better. And it's always kind of been like that, I don't make music with thinking that I need people to like this or they have to. I don't give a fuck, I really don't give a fuck. But I'm happy when they do. So, I mean, that was always the thing, man. There was never any standout moments. It was just getting on with it.
Mm.
Just making music, getting on with it.
And you've performed in a few different countries around the world. Like, I mean, in terms of Irish artists, most of the time it might be a small gig in the US or a couple in the UK. But I've seen you've done stuff across Europe as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I've been out Czech Republic, Istanbul, France, Portugal, Germany, Holland. I mean, yeah, Europe's a good spot, you know? You got so many countries close to each other, you can just fucking travel easy, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is very small when you think about it. Like, I mean, in comparison to other places, like you can get around very easily. Like, um, in the case with those gigs, like, did they contact you directly because they knew who you were? Because that obviously would be very cool if guys in Germany were like, hey, we want to get RíRá over for a gig. How do they kind of come
But
about?
yeah, with Germany, especially in Germany. I mean, they all contacted me, with Czech Republic, uh, fucking wherever I went, you know? But Germany is a massive following now. That Germany was treated like a fucking rap superstar.
Yeah.
It was like an American artist coming over or something. You know, and honestly, it was strange. It was like, you know who I am? Going, fuck yeah, man, since day dot. It's like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, it's mostly them contacting me, and I'm thinking, do I want to go to that country? Yeah, fuck, why not? Let's go out there. And we go out. I mean, Czech Republic again treated us like fucking rap royalty. It's crazy. They're even almost bigger into it, I'd say, than the Irish, and it's big over here. But they love it, and they love when people actually travel out to perform for them. It's like a privilege to them, you know.
Oh yeah.
And they make you feel like you're fucking, like I said, rap royalty or some fucking shit, you know. They're really, it's always been good. Anytime I've traveled, it's always been fucking love and respect, you know.
It's definitely something that I'd like to do in the future. I've kind of said to myself, like, I'd rather spend a nice bit of money to go to another country and not just go there and have the crack. I'd love to get the opportunity to go, whether it's doing a gig or working with on a project with someone like that. Um, that's kind of my main goal at some point, to kind of go away, and obviously it'll be some form of a holiday, but really make the most of it and kind of come back with something that I've put together musically. It was always my kind of biggest dream, I guess, outside of what I'm doing within the realistic side of things. Like, obviously, yeah, everyone would love to be filling out fucking stadiums and shit like that, but keeping it relatively real, I'd love to go abroad and kind of work on something with someone like an underground artist from, I don't know, Russia, or even, of course, America, and the typical places like that.
Yeah, you meet characters from all over, and we're all on the same page.
Oh yeah.
Hip hop is so unifying worldwide, you know. You can talk to people about fucking Gangstar or Rakim or APMD. You can, these people know these fucking artists. So we're all on the same fucking thing, you know.
Probably been the most universal language I've spoken with people from other countries was, if you didn't really have much to communicate about, I'd just be like, I'm into hip hop, I'm a hip hop artist, and then boom, they'll either know someone or they'll be into it themselves. And yeah, that's always how I've kind of gotten to know people. I still know people to this day that I'm still friends with them on Facebook and chat with them every so often. It's like, yeah, I literally spoke to that fella on a bench in fucking Alicante for 2 hours about hip hop, and that's it. Like, but still, it's a nice little experience to have. Like,
yeah, and then you're connected.
So you're currently working on something else now as well. Is there any details you'd be willing to reveal about that, or are you kind of keeping it totally secret on the down low?
So some of it I can't mention because I'm working with other people and it's their thing. So yeah, I'm not gonna expose their thing until they're ready to put it out.
Of course, yeah.
As far as my own stuff, I'm always making music, man. I'm always making music. So I'm about 6 or 7 tracks into another album, but I might drop 4 of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
2 steps forward, 1 back, 2 steps forward, 1 back, and I'll get there. Maybe next year there'll be something else. There'll definitely be something else with other people. That's definitely coming out. Like I said, I can't say, and I hate even mentioning it without going into it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. I'm also doing a 100% reggae album that I've been threatening to do for years. Reggae, that's like my second love. I fucking love reggae.
I can hear
I'm doing 100%
your beats as well with a bit of reggae there.
Yeah, well, there's always that influence, man. But I want to do 100% reggae album. And I can give you the name of it now exclusively. I have the name of it already. It's going to be called Roots and Culture.
Sweet.
That's the working title, but that's what it's going to end up. Roots and Culture, 10 reggae tracks. And it's sounding good already. It's a whole different thing, man. It's not like me rapping. I'm just kind of shouting in key. I'm not a singer. I'm just kind of shouting key along to the reggae. And I love it. And I'm a big stoner as well, so it works.
Aren't we all? Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate having the balls to go down a different route with sound and stuff like that, especially if you're known for something primarily. Like I recently did a drum and bass kind of prodigy type project. Just randomly, really. I always kind of wanted to make something different, and then I put that together. I put together most of it in one night, just fucking going 24/7, and then I kind of worked on those tracks slowly but surely for another while, and then I released it. And the Oak fucking is probably my most popular project online, probably because it's open to a totally different community. But I was kind of
Yeah.
astounded by it, by the way it was kind of received, and people were kind of taken back by the fact that I said like, no, I literally like I've only been making that shit for a couple of months, but I guess once you have a kind of an idea of production and making stuff already, it doesn't come off as difficult. In the end, they're kind of just faster hip hop beats or whatever. But yeah, I definitely liked kind of exploring that and kind of at least proving to myself that like I can actually make other stuff besides rap beats. Like, so I
Yeah,
guess
it's
don't
all
be afraid.
music,
I
man.
guess.
You know, it's all making music. I'm a musician first. I was making music and writing instrumentals before I ever took up a pen and paper.
Yeah,
Before I wrote any lyrics, I was writing instrumental stuff. So I'm a musician. So I listen to all kinds of music, like you name it. But it has to be a certain quality. Now I'm in it that long. It has to be like rightly fucking up there, something that moves me.
yeah,
If it doesn't move me, I'm not fucking bothered with it, you know. There's a lot of fucking shit coming out as well. It's just you got to filter through it yourself, you know. Years ago, record companies used to filter through it for you, kind of.
yeah.
You know, but now it's the internet's open to everyone, and it's great that it's open to everyone. But you got to filter through 99% of fucking bullshit.
Yeah, realistically, you can upload anything to Spotify. It doesn't even have to qualify as music because in the end, they're going to get their cut of the money anyways. So it's
Exactly.
a blessing and a curse. It does make things oversaturated, but of course, the amount of kind of hassle, say someone might have had to go through to put together an album and get it released and all that stuff. All you need now is a couple of bits of equipment at home, and that's basically it.
Yeah,
You can release music, you know?
away you go, and it's worldwide instantly, which is amazing. But it opens the doors to fucking everyone. So
Yeah,
you've got the fella that thinks he can rap, and you've got the fella that thinks he can produce, or thinks he can DJ, and they just fucking they're in the wrong job, man. You
yeah.
know, some people just shut me on the fucking mic,
So,
and
yeah,
I wouldn't begrudge or put down anyone. I'm trying to encourage people to make music. It's fucking so important and it's so brilliant.
yeah.
But you know, some people are just they're trying too hard, and it just sounds crap, man. It's not organic, you know.
It's a bit of a trend to jump on for some people. It's like, oh, like look at musicians. They seem to be popular. They seem to get all the girls. They seem to get all the fucking free drugs and drink and all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, in some cases that's true, but more often than not, they're getting that because they're fucking class. You know what I mean? So I've definitely come across a few people where it's like they're just thinking of the results as opposed to the actual craft, and they're willing to do anything. And then they come and go very quickly when they realize, like, you know,
I've seen so many come and go, man. Believe me, it's been 38 years in this fucking thing. I've seen them come and go, and I don't say anything when I can see them going, and I say nothing.
yeah,
And I started to say, you're going to hype up your new thing for 2 months. It's going to be the best fucking thing ever. It's going to be blazing. You're waiting to hear this. 2 months later, the track comes out. It's fucking cack. So you've been on the internet for 2 fucking months bigging this up, and then you put this out. Get off the fucking, shut the fuck up, man.
yeah. I've seen it all too many times as well. And I don't want that to happen to people, but sometimes you kind of dug yourself into that hole in the first place, and it's kind of like, look, you know, I don't have to slaughter you because the punters and the consumers may do that for me. So, you know, I don't have the energy to be kind of wasting my time and bringing people down and stuff like that. But yeah, I know I see exactly where you're coming from. It's kind of like as well, yes men are a big problem too, like, you know, and I still to this day get it sometimes where I might purposely make something that's a bit off or a bit shite, and I'll show it to people and they'll all still tell me it's fucking class, and I'm like, but you not notice these blatant issues, like, and they're like, oh no, but it's like, come on, like, give me an honest answer, like, you know, don't tell me this now when the fucking song's released and be like, oh, actually that song was shite. It's like, yeah, I kind of know now.
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I'm blessed with a very close circle of people that are very honest.
Yeah,
And I'll play them the music first, like months before it comes out. And they would just say, like, you can do better than that.
mm.
You know? And I know I can do better than that, but I'm playing them the worst fucking tracks first. And they're honest about it. They're not like, oh yeah, that's great, put that out. I said, no, it's fucking shit, man. I'm not putting that out. I've been blessed with those circle of people, and that's why I've been friends with them for 40 years. I know, you know, they're my fucking audience.
Yeah,
I think everyone needs that. You don't need to be praised the whole time.
No.
You can't be fucking great the whole time. Just be honest.
Yeah, I've always tried to push people to be a bit more honest in that regard when it comes to stuff like that. It's like I'm not going to get hurt because I'm asking you for your fucking opinion. And in some cases, yeah, I might disagree with you, or I might agree. You know, it's in the end when it comes to releasing music, it's the artist's final decision whether or not you want to release it. Like, in some cases, I've had tracks that I thought were great, and then 6 months later, I was like, nah, I'm not going to release that. And then I've gone back to a track that I dismissed after recording it once, and I'm like, fuck, that's actually pretty good, you know. And I'd always, within say the bad arts circle and a couple of my close mates, whenever I record songs or have them finished up, I'll send them over straight away and be like, look, you get exclusive listen there, let me know what you think. And almost beg is like, look, tell me if you think it's shy, tell me if you think there's something wrong with it. But I think at this stage, I think I've got enough of a kind of an inkling to be like, okay, I think that song is pretty good, I'm sure people will agree, and kind of already have the stuff that I don't necessarily rate set aside anyways, you know.
Yeah, but you got to be your own judge as well, you know.
Yeah,
like you said, it's ultimately up to you what you're going to put out. You think this is good enough? How are you going to be fucking remembered for this song and it's shit, you know? So I would say just don't fucking rush it. Don't, if you got a track that's pretty good and you know, have a listen to it for a while. Does it still stand up in 6 months? Does it still stand up in a year's time? I've released tracks that I've been listening to for fucking 4 years. Yeah. I have no intention of releasing them, but 4 years later, I'm going, that still sounds all right. And I put it out. It's up to yourself at the end of the day. How do you feel about it? And don't worry about how anyone else feels about it. It's not their music.
What would be some of your all-time favorite tracks that you've put together outside of your within like a fairly substantial catalog and size? Would you have a couple of songs there that stick out for you where it's like, I'm really, really proud of that and how it came out?
I don't think it's pride. It's just I get satisfaction in some of them that they turned out.
Yeah.
How I wanted them to turn out. I don't know off the top. Anything off the new album is fine by me. That's where I am now.
Yeah.
I can listen to older stuff and I might be a bit cringy going, I could have changed that or changed, but that it's, you know, it's of the time. It came out when I wanted it to come out.
Yeah.
Standout tracks for me, especially live, that's when you can really judge it. When they, you know, when you feel it live and the crowd feel it, they're the ones that stand out. Well, 25 o'clock, obviously, right? Every time.
Of course.
One Ton Style for me stands out. Running the Sound stands out. You know, it's just, you can judge them when you get the reaction from the crowd. And you have people who are fucking shouting back every word of the song. How the fuck do they know? I can barely remember the fucking words. And this fucker's, he's on the verse. He's on every fucking word on it. That's a mad feeling. That these people love it so much that they memorize every fucking word you're saying. That's a cool feeling.
Definitely. Yeah.
So as far as big tracks, I judge them by how they're received live and the response from them live. And then you're like, well, other times it's like a fucking headphone track that you don't ever play live, you know? Like I've done one on the new album with Mook. Big up to Mook. That circle track, that's not a live track. That's not like something you'd come out and perform live. Unless it was like a event or something. People are fucking sitting down at candlelit fucking tables or something. That's that type of track.
I got you, yeah.
But yeah, I love those tracks too, you know?
Mook is a fucking lethal producer.
Oh, Mook is amazing, man. Mook is a fucking genius. And it's not just musically, he's lyrically, he's fucking on the videos, he's an artist, he's a proper artist. He's a fucking genius.
I don't think
he's one of those people that have you ever met Mook?
No, I don't think I've met any of the Sons Phonetic guys in person before. Not that I know of.
On top of it all, on top of all his talent, he's a fucking solid, decent person, you know?
Yeah.
Which makes it all fucking great. You know, he's so good. Shout to Mook, man.
So I was interested in kind of knowing your kind of, I guess, view on a lot of the newer stuff. Like, who would be some of the kind of artists that have probably come out maybe in the last 5 to 10 years that you would rate? Because I'm sure that would, your opinion would hold a lot of weight because you're someone who's been there from the start. And obviously, I'm not saying this is your opinion, but the general opinion from kind of older artists is that like all the new stuff is shite and blah, 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 and there's no good stuff anymore. But I'm sure you definitely have a few there that you highly rate. So would there be any guys kind of there that you'd tune into every so often?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like a lot of old schoolers, they just want to stick with the old school or
Yeah.
the era that they came from, you know? And I mean, I think they're forgetting that youngsters created hip hop, right? And
Mm.
then youngsters changed hip hop in the 80s. And then youngsters changed hip hop again in the 90s. And they're changing it again now in the 2000s. And I'm sure it's probably due another change. So you got to go with the evolution of it.
Yeah.
That's what it was always about. It's always changed. You know, my favorite era is the early 90s, the boom bap, when it was fucking anthem after anthem. That's my favorite era. But I'm not stuck in that era. I'm listening to that new stuff. And it's like every genre. There's always like 80% crap coming out, and then there's 20% of solid fucking stuff. There's 20% solid stuff now. And I'm talking worldwide. I'm not talking Ireland. Worldwide. 80% shit, 20% fucking diamonds.
Mm.
I'm still hearing that. And I don't search for new music. I wait for it to kind of jump out.
I get you. Yeah.
So anything that, you know, anything that is going to be heard, really heard, it jumps out. So if we take it down to like just Ireland, like I said, I don't seek for it. It just, every now and again, someone jumps out. You go back, all the working class crew, all GI, all the associates with For Real, Costello, fucking, you know, Jambo, all those guys are top notch.
Definitely.
They are absolutely. It's always quality. And it's real, it's gully hip hop, but it's proper hip hop. Sons Phonetic, without a doubt. They're on a massive plane, on a high shelf there. All the lads, all those MCs, like 5 MCs there, they're all great. Lil Dialect,
Definitely.
without a doubt. Lil Dialect is like, he's so intelligent, so clever. He's like the Nas of Irish hip hop to me. Of Irish MCs, he is like the Nas because he's a storyteller and he's really good at it.
Very, very good. I wouldn't be able to disagree with you there at all. He's fucking absolutely top notch.
Yeah. Who else? I like Strange Boy. He's doing his own thing.
Savage guy.
Strange Boy's like an old soul, you know?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I've known him for a few, you know, he's fucking gentleman, but he's supremely talented as well. Like I was blown away by him. I used to have him in my fucking bedroom studio when I was living in Limerick a couple of years ago, like, and we'd be all just getting pissed and stoned, like, and he'd go up and he'd do a fucking freestyle and I'd be like, Jesus Christ, and he'd be like, delete that there, it's a load of shite. And I'm like, man, that's better than the last fucking 100 tracks I'm after hearing in this country. Like, I was like, fucking hell, he's absolutely lethal MC.
Yeah, I like him. He's a kind of a storyteller as well, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
An old soul. He's like a Shanachie or something. And he's incorporating the trad stuff as well, that's important. There's not a lot of people that use it, you know?
It's very unique, like, it sticks out.
I like him. Who else can I mention off the top of the head? There's a couple of Belfast heads are great. Daz and the boys.
Yeah.
You know, they're mad into hip hop. They're so big, you know. I've been up there a few times and it's just, yeah, they fucking love it.
Yeah, the Belfast scene is probably my favorite, I'd say, in the country, to be honest. There's just so many guys there. Like, it's kind of one of the ones where I think a lot more of the hip hop acts are friendly with each other and support each other and go to each other's gigs. Like, you go up to a gig there and there's like literally 100 different rappers and producers there, whereas I'd go to ones around the country and there might be a couple, but the rest of the people are there are just kind of fans, you know?
Yeah, they do support each other a lot more than most other places.
Mm.
There's kind of competition in other places, you know?
Yeah.
I suppose it's healthy competition in a way, but it's also definitely a bit of Irish begrudgery as well, you know?
Facts. It comes up every episode, this topic, like, and yeah, it is a thing, sadly. Like, there's healthy competition, but I do think there's an undeniable level of toxicity amongst people, and it's kind of like, if you even ask them, why aren't you, like, you know, in any way friendly, it's like there's no real reason, or it's just some petty shite, and it's like, I can guarantee you that it's nothing. You know, it's like, imagine if you put your heads together, like, you could fucking come out with some really, really good stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the MC thing as well. If you're an MC, it's about talking shit.
Yeah.
You got to talk shit. You got to big yourself up. And if someone else bigs themselves up in a better way, there's a jealousy there. And there's a begrudgery going, this cunt. You know, there's that attitude where it should be like, this cunt is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Make you want to up your game.
Yeah. Up your game, man. It's not fucking their fault they're so good and you're not as good. It's up to you to get as good. Don't put them down for being better.
You mentioned...
Sorry, go on.
You were mentioning some of the acts that you would rate highly, such as the Working Class Records lads, and you have a song with Lunatic that
Mhm.
came out probably about maybe 13 years ago or so. How did that come about? And just to ask, like, what is he like in person? Because he's another lad like yourself that's considered a legend, but he sadly passed away. So a lot of people
Mm.
have no kind of personal experience kind of with him. He's just like, oh yeah, I've heard of him, or I know people that know him. But obviously, you've actually done a track with him, which is not something a lot of people have done. So would you give us maybe a piece about that?
Yeah, well, let me take it back a little bit further to when I first heard Lunatic, before I met him.
Yeah.
But I was living in London at the time, and I had a friend of mine sending me music, and I was like, what's going on in Ireland, especially with hip hop? Is there anything going on? And to be honest, there was fuck all going on.
Mm.
And then one time I get this CD, and it's a blank CD. It's a blank cover. There's no writing, and all it has on the CD is UI. So it comes from Tullamore. It's had to been posted, and I'm thinking UI. This is United Ireland or something, right? It's a little piss take. This CD is going to be full of fucking rebel songs.
Yeah.
Which it kind of was, because it turns out that UI stood for Urban Intelligence.
Mm.
And I put that on, and the first person I heard was For Real. I'm like, who the fuck is this? This is so fucking. It's dark, but it's fucking brilliant. They're telling stories, and then Lunatic comes in. I was blown away by it. I was like, who the fuck are these? What does that UI stand for? My mate tells me it's Urban Intelligence. Lads from Ballymun. They just put out this 4-track demo or something. I was like, give me everything they have. Whatever you have, but give me everything. And he said, I think that is everything. It was like 4 or 5 tracks. Moss Chops on there as well. It was like, yeah, these guys are telling the fucking truth. This is real, So then Lunatic is doing his solo thing. I didn't know he had any sort of health problems. I really had no clue about that. And he never mentioned it because he was such a decent person. He wouldn't be looking for sympathy or anything like that.
Yeah.
He just reached out to me. He was going, I'm doing an album. Would you do a verse on it? And I was like, fucking right, I will. Yeah, absolutely. Moss Shop sends me the beat. I think it was Lunatic's first verse was on it. So I did a verse on it, sent it back. And then I got another version with Lunatic's second verse. And when he goes into the second verse on that, he fucking rips into it. And I thought, fucking hell, give me a second verse. It was like, where's my second verse? He's up there tearing the fuck out of me there. But it wasn't a competition like that. It was like, he was showing me, this is how good I can be.
Yeah.
And he was fucking brilliant. I'm actually, when I say like, I'm not proud of putting stuff out, I'm proud of that track. I'm proud that I got that chance because of the circumstances. When he passed away, he was only like 24 or something.
Yeah.
Such a fucking loss,
Definitely.
Rest in peace to Lunatic. But yeah, I'm proud of that tune, man. I'm glad I got to meet him a few times. I'm glad we got to conversations. He was very ahead of his years.
He effectively brought the scene back, because I feel like there's a kind of an empty pocket there of time where there wasn't really a whole lot being brought out at all. And then he kind of repopularized it, and then Working Class Records obviously came about because of him. And look at all the talent that produced. It arguably, to me, when it comes to say top 10 rappers in Ireland, like 6 or 7 of them are coming from that one space, So that's fucking. He should be highly commended for that stuff.
Absolutely, and shout to Dean Scurry for setting that all up. He started that label. He's from Ballymun. He's like got the lads together. They were going to do it anyway, but I mean, shout to Dean for putting that together. Lunatic, yeah, he's definitely up there with the top MCs from this country without a fucking doubt. I mean, he was miles ahead.
A lot of wisdom in his lyrics,
Absolutely, man. He was such an old soul. He was another old soul. He was like very mature for his age. And I met him right towards the end of his life, and he was like still like early 20s, very mature guy and humble as fuck. So he's badly missed, man. I would have loved to see what he would have went and done later,
Yeah.
Because he would have went on absolutely more albums, absolutely getting the attention of who knows? Who knows? He could have fucking went the whole way.
Yeah. No, for me, that he is literally one of the very best to have ever touched the mic in this country. And again, going back on his wisdom, like based on a true story, that project, like you wouldn't think it was made by a guy of his age, across the board, just everything that goes on in that project, like it's genuinely insane, like how fucking good it is from A to Z.
Yeah. top notch. And the fact that we're still talking about him, you know, he did his thing. His legacy is there.
Sound. I'm very thankful for having you on. We got a fucking great chat. It's genuinely an honor for having you on the
Oh,
show.
thanks for having me, man.
No hassle, man. And at some stage again, I'll give you a shout. We might do another episode in the future. I have a fucking absolute mad line of episodes to get out of the way, but I really appreciate you getting you on, and definitely keep me in the loop if you've got any ideas for maybe gigs down this side of the country and want a bit of a hand with it, or anything in general. I'm always happy to help in any way.
Thank you again, brother.
All right. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.
All the best. Slán.